Hello amphibian lovers, it's Amphibian Boss here, and today we're going to be setting up a habitat or a cage for my marbled salamander. I've had this set up once if you've already seen that. This will be a tutorial since I'm already doing it. Anyone else who's getting a marbled salamander or any other kind of salamander, in this case it's going to be a marbled salamander. It works for most salamanders, just depending on what size you have. If you have a smaller one, you can do a smaller setup. If you have like a tiger salamander or something big, you may want to make it bigger. And this works for some terrestrial newts also. So I already started. I got all this old moss out. This is the frog moss by Zoomed. Didn't have any UVB light on it, so it kind of died off and went moldy. So what I'm replacing it with is New Zealand spagna moss, and I have it right here. I have some right here, and I have a whole box. So there's lots there. I think this is like 10-gallon tank size or something. Usually it says how much you're allowed to put in it. And I'll show you my salamander quick. He's not liking where he is, but there's my marbled salamander there. So let's get started. So I wish I could show you like right away what I'm actually doing, but I'll do a brief description of what I have for you at the moment, or I have for my salamander at the moment. So what I do have is, this is just Eco Earth, coconut fiber. It's really good stuff. You can find it at mostly any pet store, and it works great for these guys because it stays quite humid if you keep it in the right conditions, and it gives them a great substrate to burrow in, and it's quite cheap and easy to work with. I have about, I'm going to say 1.5 inches of dirt. You may want to put a little more, but no less. I have the dirt to do it, but don't put any less than 1.5 inches of dirt because they're mole salamanders and these guys like to burrow. But any salamander, you want to have enough dirt so there's like some kind of substrate there. So like that's enough. I thought there might be a little more dirt because it does go in quite powdery, but when it's packed down like this, there's not as much there. So this here is like the terrarium moss. It's different than the sphagnum, and it doesn't keep the humidity well, but it's kind of got a greenish color, so it kind of changes out the color of the setup. And then also I have a little bit of the sphagnum moss in here that came with the salamander, but I didn't have any sphagnum moss with me when I first set it up. So what I'm doing now is I replaced the frog moss with the sphagnum. Now what the frog moss is good for is it changes the colors out, and if you have it in a good lighted like a good lit terrarium with a UVB light and stuff on it, that'll help the moss grow quite well, and it'll look nice. And what it works really well for is the salamanders will burrow underneath there and keeps the humidity in very well. Now, unfortunately, that stuff's not working for my setup at the moment. I may try it again if I get a light and stuff, but salamanders, lights, heat, they don't mix. So what I'm doing is using sphagnum moss, which is just basically the terrarium moss, but it holds the humidity way better, and it's actually a really pretty color. It's kind of like don't know if the camera does it justice, but it's like a beigeish color. So it makes it look really nice. It's kind of like a spongy, foamy kind of texture, and it holds the humidity in just like a sponge, basically. So when setting these up, you want to keep the humidity in, and you want to have lots of places for them to hide and burrow. So a thing of moss like that, they can go right into this and burrow underneath of it and hide in it. So that works good. I'm going to get that sprayed. And then also, here I have a piece of cork bark, so that's a good cork bark hide. It fits perfectly, so that gives them a place to hide underneath of. But they do take advantage of all the moss that you give them, and really what the moss is for to keep the humidity in, but it helps very, very well if as a hide, and they like a nice humid place to hide, right? So I put a little piece over here. Oh, I got tons. Yeah, just estimate how much you're going to need. I would say that the box that I had is a 10-gallon size. Like probably exactly 10-gallon size, because this is around a 5-gallon, And yeah, I'm not gonna fit all the moss I have here. I got tons of moss. So I might use this for my white tree frog or something. My green tree frogs might like it. But you want to just use it generously. It keeps the humidity in well, and it makes the tank look a lot prettier. And then I'm going to add one more extra hide. There's a rock hide. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right here in the corner. And I'll put moss around it. So you can do whatever you really please with these setups. And, you know, make it so it's nice looking depending on how you want it, but also usable for the salamander. So another thing that you want to keep, and what they like to actually burrow underneath most of the time, are these water dishes. And the water dish I'm using is actually ceramic dish I bought at the dollar store, and it's actually a really good dish. They're durable. Now if you drop them they break, but they're quite durable in a cage like this. They look quite nice. They don't look like it's supernatural, but it's not a plastic tray like bottom of a water bottle or something. They're solid. They hold the water in. They're glazed, so you can use them as food dishes also. And they come in variable sizes. They come in little like food dish sizes, and they also come in this size, which is perfect for my salamander because it's not a lot of space. That they don't need a lot of swimming space, but enough space just in case he needs the room just to get enough water, just in case I go away for a couple of days and I don't have the time to spray it or something. You forget to spray once in a while. You have a clean water dish. Now you should clean out the water every day. Salamanders are like all amphibians. They need to breathe their skin, and if they have like ammonia and stuff in their water, it's not good for them. Probably every day, and if you forget day, they should be good. But salamanders can be quite delicate, so sometimes mistakes can hurt and bite you. So that's the water dish you need. A lot of this is basically done. It doesn't take a lot of work. I'll show you actually my tank. The tank, I believe, is 14 by, I want to say 8 inches by 14 inches by 5 inches tall. So it's relatively good for one marbled salamander. Marbled salamanders are around 4.5 inches, and sometimes they get about 5 inches, but don't need a lot of space. They're not tiger salamanders. They don't need a ton of space, and most salamanders are quite small. Not a lot of them are huge, so they don't need a ton of space, and they don't move around a lot. So when you're setting up a tank, you don't want to have something that's like really tall, like a 12 by 12 by 18, like for tree frogs and lizards and stuff. You want something that's small, very short, so you can get in there, and they have the space to move around. So you want something that has a lot of ground space, not height. So now I just put the tank in a spot that's cool, out of a lot of light, because they do prefer it to be dark when they're hanging around in their tank. And yeah, keep it somewhere cool, out of the sunlight, out of the heat, and in a good spot that's accessible for you, not in the corner or something, and not by any outlets or anything. You can see they're quite simple to set up. They're not expensive to set up at all. It's nothing elaborate. You can make it elaborate, but it doesn't have to be. As long as you have something for them to burrow in, something to hide in, and a water dish, you really don't need anything else, as long as you keep your temperatures cool enough. And that can be a problem when keeping lots of salamanders. So, and the last thing you really have to do is put some water in your water dish, which I already have, and just add your salamander. And I just want to show you how they burrow, because let's put them right on this moss here. He may not burrow. It doesn't look like he's gonna burrow anywhere. But usually he's moving now. Yeah, you can see they just like to burrow. They're like a snake in a hole. They just burrow right into that moss. And they really like it. Yeah, I don't even have to spray it because it's already moist. after you do the instructions on the moss. The moss doesn't come wet, comes dry in a box. It stays wet pretty long, the spagna moss, which I like it for that, and they love to burrow in it. So last but not least, you can just see he's burrowing in there like a worm in a hole, and then you just stick your lid on here, and that's basically it for setting up a salamander tank. They're great pets. I'll be doing a care video on these guys or on my salamander and a feeding video, but they're great pets. Depending on where you live, sometimes they can be more common, less common. Wild caught, captive bred. Mine's captive bred male. Not very common to find in the pet trade, but a little more common than some others. Cost me $67, so like $70. Some places you can get them for $10, some places you can get them for $25. Just depends on where you live. Mine was $70, captive bred. I believe that's a good price for a healthy breeding male. I haven't seen if he can breed yet, but I'm pretty sure he could because he's very healthy. So that's basically it for setting up a salamander tank. They're great pets, and as always, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys found this video helpful in any way. Remember to go check out Salamander Bros and Japan Herping channel for more videos on salamanders. I'll put their channel names and the links in the description below. Thanks for watching, guys.